Hey there, it's Marley Major. Before we dig in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell because you definitely don't want to miss another glorious disaster here on Every Day's a Train Wreck. Because missing an episode, now that would be a train wreck. Let's get to it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Every Day's a Train Wreck. I'm your host, Marley Major, and I have a long time buddy on the episode, and we kind of are just playing a game. I was like, Marcy, her name is Marcy Pellegrino. She's awesome. She's a bundle of fire. And I was like, how do you want me to introduce you? She's just like, why didn't you ask me that when we start the recording? So we're gonna wing it, and I'm gonna say, Marcy Pellegrino, introduce yourself, tell everybody how we know each other, and most importantly, tell us all about your very cool product that my dogs and everybody else's dogs I've given these to are obsessed with.
Thank you.
Jump in. So great to have you on the show.
Great to see you again.
I know, right? How long has it been? It's been a
long time because I know it was back in 2008 because I was pregnant with my first son. And that's how long ago it was. And I had a company where I was doing customized wedding invitations for more premier weddings and things like that. And that's how we connected.
Which is so great. And when was your son born then?
On May 15th, 2008.
So my daughter was born, her birthday's tomorrow. So she's April 11th, 2008. She's my last one.
Oh, wow. Well, we have the same. She's a Taurus. You got to love our personalities because mine's April 30th.
Well, yours is a Taurus. Mine is an Aries.
Oh, she's an Aries. She's on that cusp, right?
She's setting everybody on fire, literally. And I'm just, bless you. She's a senior in high school. What about yours? Is yours a senior?
Yes, he's a senior too. That's crazy.
Well, I'm telling you, anybody who's listening who has kids who has just gone through that freaking college process and
oh my God,
this,
I was literally pulling out my hair. They still don't have his transcripts, and I've been trying to send them since December and having the school send them. So it's an ongoing battle.
Yes, it's like a permanent Mercury in retrograde.
Yes, it is.
Moment, right?
Looping and looping.
Looping and looping. I mean, it is insane. Okay, so we're not here at the moment to bitch about our kids, although there'll be plenty of time for that. But okay, so Marcy, tell us about your because you have a cool story. So tell us about the segue. How'd you go from 2008, we meet, and you're doing invitations and to now? I mean, God, that's literally 18 years later. But you know what? That's what makes the show cool, because everything looks like, everybody that sees, we're going to get into where your products are sold and stuff. And they're going to be like, oh my God, wow, how'd she? And it's going to look, the picture's going to look so perfect on the outside. And then, but it's
and you open
always, and then you open Pandora's box, and it's always about always about the backstory. So let's jump in on some of that trajectory we can gloss over things, and then we can get into the kind of the juicy details. But so how'd you go from invitations to what you're doing now, and what exactly are you doing now?
Okay. So I was always a creative. I started as a graphic designer. This was always my goal, was to be a creative director. So I moved to Manhattan. I did all that. It was fun, and, became a creative director. But I always had such a love for animals, and specifically dogs. And I just this huge passion, and I always wondered, there's got to be a better way for me to feed them, or even to treat them with treats, you know what I mean, that are healthy. And my labs suffered from cancer. It happened quite rapidly. My two of them, Max and Munson, and then it was horrible. And the whole time I'm thinking, could I have fed them better? Because you kind of have guilt sometimes, what could I have done or whatever. So I was like, there's gotta be a better way. And I'm looking at all these treats. I'm like, this is gonna be one dog mom that's gonna provide super healthy, clean treats that other moms and other dog dads have wanted. You know what I mean? And I wanted to put it to the test, because a lot of what's out there right now is not healthy. And so, is it possible, you think, to really create a healthy treat? Because no one's clearly done it. And it's like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. It's going to be ultra clean. So clean that so many different dogs with like digestive issues can eat it and such.
Okay, I want to go back to like how did you even decide to leave invitations? And the reason
I
I'm also getting
Yeah.
granular about this is because there are a lot of people that listen to the show who are maybe aspiring entrepreneurs. Maybe
Mhm.
they're working for somebody. Maybe they have this idea, right? And they're
Mhm.
like, well, I'm never going to be able to leave like you being creative director to how am I going to do that? How
How
am
do
I
you make
going to
that
make that
leap?
leap? And
Yeah.
how did you even mentally like how did you mentally make the leap? Like
Like wrap
how
my
did you
head
wake up?
around it.
Yeah, well how'd you wake up and say, "Listen, I'm not going to do invitations anymore. Now I'm into the dog world."
It was like a slow process. I also at the same time had my freelance. So I was freelancing for several people to make that income in between doing obviously the invitations and such.
Yeah.
However, to make that leap, I just wanted like I'm just it was so frustrating me about the treats. I couldn't let it go because obviously Max had passed, Munson
Right.
had passed, and I'm like, I'm going to do this because I like to take on really big challenges. I literally said to myself, I'm going to make a better treat and it's going to be on the shelves. And that's literally what I said to myself one day. And then the next day, I think it was like $250 of money. I didn't have tons. And so I put it together and I started the company. And,
Okay, but wait, you start doing what? You Google like I mean, like,
no,
in 2008, did we even have Google? I don't know. But I
I
mean,
don't
did
even
you
know. I feel so old.
I feel so old too. So I mean, how
How
did
did
you
I like even wrap
even
around the details?
yes, like how do you go, okay, I have $250. I mean, I could say I have $250 and I don't know, I'd go to like the Real and buy a pair of used Louboutins. Like what do you where do you start? How do you
Yeah.
even know what the base of it is? How do you
Yeah,
know?
and you don't know what you don't know, and I totally get that. So
Yeah.
along the way, like my mission was to provide really healthy, clean treats. So I started out a certain recipe. I would give it to friends and neighbors, and it started to explode. And to be honest, working in branding previously, I knew I was on
That's
to
key.
something. And that's where I have leverage because I worked in branding.
Okay, so this is a super key point because in fact, last night I was guest lecturing for the MBAs at Georgetown and
Hmm.
we talked so much and one of the questions that came up that the students said was what is, one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make and all this stuff and I think one of the biggest mistakes is being in your head
Mm.
and running the product or service through your head so much instead of just getting it out to the
Yep.
people who are going to use it because you will know very quickly,
Yep.
right? If and so you created this thing and you started getting traction, right? And
Hmm.
then you're like, okay, my old world is telling me we're onto something.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and then so what kind of feedback did you get? Were they just like, "Oh my gosh, this is great. Yay," or were
Yeah, a
they like,
lot
"How
of
do
them
I
are
get
like,
more?"
yeah,
Or
these are great. And how can I get more? People were noticing that their dogs weren't having like, stomach issues or, the
yeah.
pleasant diarrheas and all that fun
Yeah.
jazz, those 2 a.m.
Yes.
wake up calls from your dog. So, I
Right.
mean, and it was just picking up. And, I know I have my branding background, but I knew like this is how to get it out there. This is like the quickest way to get it out there that's informative, yeah, approachable and fun and really, again, target people that really want premier ingredients for their dog, you know what I mean? And really, really get into it.
I think that you and I are like probably ADHD sisters, and I don't did we even say the name of the product? Let's jump in with
Yes.
that. What
So
is
we
the
will
name of
say
the
it.
product?
It is
Yes.
Marcy's Pet Kitchen. Yes.
When you said you were like, "Okay, this is how to do it,"
Hmm.
and do you mean like going back granularly, did you mean getting it so that the word of mouth, they would just keep wanting
Hmm.
more, or was there another component to that?
No, it was that they wanted more. And like I said, I had the branding background, so I knew. And again, like you said, when you have a branding background, you're too much in your head. And you're
Mhm.
really in your head when you're a creative. Like
Yes.
you're like, this isn't
Yes.
right. Or maybe this is a silly idea. Or let me come back to it and let it marinate. There's so much involved in it. These treats, again, when I had started them to get a little more detailed, I wanted them to be wonderful for all dogs. And that's a very hard task to do. But I think,
Yeah.
but you would think, right? But if
Right,
you
right,
if you bake them, if you make your treats close to earth with ingredients close to earth, it's
right.
less processing of processed ingredients. It's, super clean, super healthy, and it really digests well with many dogs. So dogs with digestive issues, upsets, IBS, even diabetic dogs, because they're so low in sugar and so healthy that they can eat. It's like the Mediterranean diet, I like to say.
The
It is. We don't
Mediterranean
have to be,
Marcy's, I get it,
yes.
dude. I'm with you. I mean, I'd like to eat freaking what are they called? I'd like to eat Pop Tarts, and I mean, one of my blogs is called Vodka and Donuts. I mean, that's my true calling. So I get it, but how do you go from you're handing it out to the neighbors, everybody's like, "Oh, this is great,"
It's
to
a
like,
process.
now
Yes.
what? Okay, but walk us through that.
Okay.
Like, do you
So
and then do you get I don't know, do you get patents for the process?
So
Do
I
you
didn't do
get
patents, but I did. Okay, so there's little processes when you start to sell it. It's a cottage industry. So you're
okay.
not quite, you're manufacturing them out of your house, but it's not
Yeah,
quite the real deal.
right.
And so doing that, like when I started doing it, I started researching, as you can only imagine. And this was before the AI. I mean, technically AI was out, but I wasn't using it then at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so, you had to run through AFCO. AFCO has all the standards for ingredients for dog foods and whatnot. I had to go through that.
You have this recipe,
Everything's
you
baby
start, like
steps. Yes.
right. So you go well, I don't know, because you said, like, one day, God bless him, the
Well,
dogs passed,
that
and you're like,
wasn't a
"I'm gonna
baby
solve it."
step. Yeah, that wasn't a
Okay.
baby step.
So you say, "I've got $250, you buy the ingredients, then you talk to the AFCO people, they say, "This is how you gotta do it," type of
Well, I
thing,
didn't
because
talk
you're
to them. You research about them because they have. So, for instance, when you're selling a product, there's
yeah,
guides to how you need to do it. It's
yeah.
got to say now for dogs. It can't say diabetic friendly. It's got to say low glycemic
Ah,
or maybe good for
oh,
your dog's sugar. You never can have claims, so you have to be really careful with that. So that was
got
the
it.
first thing. Then I started designing the labels because we weren't at bags because the bags cost too much money. So they were food grade, all natural bags for an all natural dog treat product. And so I created those
Mhm.
labels. Now, knowing that the people, knowing my audience, like a lot of people would have
Yeah.
to research their audience and things like that. Like I already knew what they were.
I talk a lot about client avatar and and
Mhm.
and who your target audience is. So who talk to us about specifically who was your target audience? Because
So
that's key. I mean, it wasn't people who are looking for the cheapest dog food.
no, no. So it's usually women, but of course there's dog moms out there and dog dads. But they would be like sort of like upper middle class, and these are premier ingredients for premier treats. So therefore, there are
Here's and
people
so
that would go to like Whole Foods or Sprouts, and they really look at
right,
labels. These are people that are educating themselves about labels because what they feed themselves, they want to feed their dogs something healthy just the
bingo.
same. So that is my
Got it.
target audience. We do get people that are younger. We do get people that are in the baby boomers, or a lot of them as well. So
Hmm.
it's wonderful to see. Yeah.
So you realize this is your target audience, and then how do you how do you decide the price point?
Mhm.
How do you what's the next steps? You're talking about, the packages and the
Yeah.
label, like how does it
How does it manifest into, I know everything.
yeah,
I'll
how
be
does
honest, it's very
yeah.
confusing because certain things are predicated on other certain things being done.
Yeah.
So you might
So
find
tell us.
yourself, yeah, I'm going to design this label. Wait a minute, AFCO, let me go back and tweak it. Let me get them reprinted. So we all have these little pitfalls and whatnot. When I started to grow, and I'll get to the price point, when I started to grow, we figured out what the manufacturing costs are. Since doing it at the house, manufacturing costs are very different than doing it at a facility.
What were they like? Like how much of a difference?
It was quite a difference, quite a
Like
financial difference. Yes. So basically, what
yes.
takes up a lot too is the shipping. Shipping is a
Yeah.
lot. So making our company more direct to consumer would be the way to go. We have no problem. We're actually in talks with some big stores right now. But again, the pricing is laid out, within the same realm, but slightly different. And of course, more affordable on our website.
Because they're going direct in there and you're
And the
just
shipping is absolutely insane what you're paying.
I
I mean, we
know.
have a fulfillment center now, but still, it's just a lot. And
Yeah.
there are
Yeah.
things that you don't want your consumers to absorb, but at the same
Right.
time, you have such a great product, there's got to be a happy medium somewhere, you know.
Completely. So did you just do it based on like, okay, here are your cost of goods sold, and and like this, or this is what the market will bear, or
No,
was it?
initially I did. I had a business partner earlier on, and she actually taught me a lot too. So I did have someone along the way, like a year
Yeah.
in, be my business partner. And it was really great at the time. I learned a lot from her for sure, like a whole
Yeah.
lot. And, and so I
Yes.
started the price point at what I thought was good, like 13.99, and for a certain type of treat. And then I think it's 12.99 it was for the pumpkin and for, yeah, and the veggie and such. But
Yeah.
again, these have to change because times change and prices go up, and you don't want to pass it to the consumer, but in the end it's like you're doing your best to absorb
Yeah.
it all.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But there's a real
And
need
so,
for it. There's a real need for these treats for sure. So
and so at this point, you're pricing then, and are you getting pushback from your target audience,
some
or are
people
they kind of like,
well, some people weren't, too sure, but a lot of people they stayed. They stayed because it's, we utilize all natural ingredients,
mm-hmm,
okay? Like in these treats are vegan. They have no preservatives. They have no soy,
yeah,
no dairy,
wow,
no corn, no gluten, absolutely no wheat, and
right,
they're really wonderful and super functional for your dog.
yeah,
So, and they
right,
digest very well and they're low in
yeah.
sugar. Yeah.
At what point, like what year did your first was somebody able to not be a neighbor getting them from you,
Hmm.
like where you kind of quasi had some
Yes.
packaging?
As I started to move forward a little bit, I had some of my number one customers, and to this day, they are still one of them. She's the sweetest. She lives in Miami, and she lost her dog, Charles.
Oh,
So I sent her a card. But yeah, you will have those moments, and those are kind of tough. But
yeah.
I remember like our first customers. I remember the first store I was in, Doggone
Which
Holistic, here in Riverview.
no, and how long ago was that?
Oh my God, that was like 3.5 years ago. So,
Wow.
yeah,
But it might seem like, wow, that was 3.5 years, but 3.5 years, I mean, you've had quite a trajectory in
yeah,
3.5 years. So how long did it take you from the time, like, I have $250, I'm gonna start whipping this up in my kitchen,
to
to
start.
to get like you were in your first store?
Okay, so the first store was about half a year later. So that was like my first
Okay.
check. And I even like photocopied it and saved it. It was because it's
I
just like,
love it.
because you have to award your little milestones because people don't get it. They're like, oh, you have this great company and blah, blah, blah. And it's a lot of work. Anything is a
Exactly.
lot of
This
work.
is
I mean, you
yeah,
get asked to go out with your friends. Everyone wants to hang out with their friends once in a while. Like it was no. Holiday time,
yeah.
no. Just baking,
No,
baking,
not
baking.
available.
I was never available.
And I really want to emphasize that too, about these celebrating these small moments, because as entrepreneurs, and again, maybe just having come off this thing last night where, you're in teaching this whole group of entrepreneurs coming up, is you have to celebrate those small milestones. You have to celebrate if XYZ retailer calls you back or
Yeah,
emails you back, right?
absolutely.
Even if you don't get the order. Because if you're just waiting for, oh, yay, the Shark Tank moment, like
Yeah,
Walmart picked me up, you're not going to get very far.
yeah.
And so, how did you get into that? How did you get into that first retailer? Did you walk in and say, hey, can you try my
Yeah,
treats? Like, what
just
was the
like
process
that,
like?
just like
No
that. And I
way.
said, "Hey," I said, "Daryl, I got Daryl's his name." And I said, "I have these amazing treats that I started." I said, "They're great they are superfood dog treats that are vegan. They're wonderful for healthy dogs." And I went on
Yeah.
and I told him the
Yeah.
ingredients. I showed him the ingredients and he was like, "Sure, let's give it a try." And they were a huge hit. And but you got to understand, I give so much credit to all the customers and even all the stores that purchase because when you're a baby, when you literally are a baby, there's a lot of changes that happen and they have to be willing to go
Yes.
with it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot
Yes.
of customers that are still with us and I give them a lot of credit because, when you get a package and it's like all of a sudden, it's a different one. It's like, what they do different. You know what I mean? Or it's just the copy is different. What did they do different?
Okay, so I mean that's a great point. I
Yeah.
hadn't even thought of that. So you go into this store, and then the guy says, "Sure, we'll give it a go." Does he say send me a dozen?
Well, no,
What
we
was it?
started out small, just doing 6 of each flavor, and I gave him my cost, which obviously changed because that was about 3, 4 years ago. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, and it went wonderful. And as for the bigger stores, what I like to do is create relationships, like real relationships with people, and plant those seeds. So if we can help each other along the way,
Yeah.
whether someone has a connection to, like, we almost got in, I think, for a limited time into 7-Eleven stores. We were made it past, I think it was phase 3 of testing product and stuff, and they decided to go with a different one. And you know what? I gave that major kudos because it's just now that people are realizing the humanization of pets and realizing, well, if I can have it, we can do something
Yeah.
pretty similar for this
Yes.
guy. So, or this little,
Yes.
four-legged girl over here. So,
Right.
yes, and I think they started to see that trend, which is why I was considered, but they ended up switching, going with someone else, which again is fine. It just wasn't the right
Yeah.
time.
Right. And so so you start with your package and you're in the first store, and then what made the packaging or the font or the
Yeah.
whatever it was change?
As you grow, you want to be more professional along the way. When you're starting out, everything's kind of like, I wish I had a sample. It's somewhere in my office, the craft bags I had with the labels. They were really cute.
Yeah.
But it takes time to evolve because then you start to like source real bags. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And these bags, how much does it cost? What's the timeline? So I had to redesign everything for the veggie, I know I'm just showing you because no one can see it, but
I
yeah.
no, I love it. And you do have great packaging. And so
Thank you.
did your background help you with the packaging
Oh,
component?
absolutely. Oh my God, yeah. And
Okay.
you know what? Here's the biggest kicker. You're going up against so many huge
Yes.
companies, right? But don't
Yes.
think that way. Do not
Yeah.
think that way. You have to be like, I have a great product. It is so unique that not only are
Yeah.
we helping dogs on a larger scale, but we're
Yeah.
also helping dogs in that 1% that everybody ignores, the
Yeah.
diabetics, the sensitive tummy,
Yeah.
and they're hypoallergenic. So they're great for dogs with allergies, you know?
And when you went so you started with the craft bag and the craft packaging, and then what made you switch from that?
I wanted it to be more professional and to have it more polished, like you would see on
Got it.
Amazon or in a store ready. You know what I mean? Everyone
Right.
knows when they see like a craft bag that we're trying to mix the natural,
Right. Right.
elements with, and we're starting out. So now
Right.
we have to start moving to something that will definitely seal through and through
Oh, right.
through
So
a
that you can open it
machine.
and then it's like the zip. Okay, got
Yeah,
it.
and it's sealed so you don't have any light coming through. There's a lot of little things to consider. And those, again, over the course of those 2 to 3 years, those were the moments when I'd say, wait a minute, let's switch packaging. We have enough money to invest in packaging. Let's get some packaging
Yeah.
with some real sealant. These are now being manufactured, no preservatives, because it goes through this antimicrobial process. So,
How did you even come up with your I'm going to call it your big girl packaging
mhm,
that you've got now that
I
you were
love
just showing?
that.
So by the way, anybody who's just listening to this on Apple or Spotify, that's great, but I want you to go to our YouTube channel at The Profit Goddess and listen to and watch, because then you can see the packaging.
Mhm.
But how did you like find your packaging? Did you just Google it? Did
Well,
you
I knew I want. Well, first of all, you do research. So you look at
Yeah.
your competitors. You have to look at your competitors not to
Yeah.
psychologically psych you out, but you do it
Right.
strategically to see what are they doing. They've been through the AFCOs. They've been through all the guidelines. Like, what is this person doing? What are all these people doing that are like the top 10
Right.
treats? And then you
Right.
can start to see, okay, well, clearly that was a smart idea. Maybe I should do that, or I got to move this
Yeah.
over so people can see it's clearly for dogs, or it's a supplement for dogs, and things like,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Like, do you think it wasn't clear before?
Well, it's not that it wasn't clear on mine, but again, you have to do it right the first time. So what's the harm in checking this 15 times? You know what I mean? And
Yes.
making
Yeah.
sure. So that's what I was doing because it was only me, and every creative knows that when you have to proofread stuff, you have to give it to other people and you have to do it
Oh
10
God,
times because on
yes.
the
Yes.
details sometimes.
Then it still gets missed. And
Yeah.
so at this point, you're the salesperson.
Yeah.
Were you still were you manufacturing them at
I
that
was
point when you were in the
manufacturing
first store?
until last February. So it's been a
No
full
way.
year now, and I have wonderful
Wow.
partner now and wonderful team. So it's just awesome.
Okay, and how did you decide who's gonna manufacture them?
That
Like, talk
actually
to
is
us
a
about that
funny story.
process.
I was looking forever. I couldn't find anyone that would seriously do just like all natural. Like this is an all natural facility and it's a vegan. So I'm like, this is amazing. Someone when I was at the Super Zoo Pet Expo 2 years ago, I met this
Yeah.
gentleman, Nick. He's awesome, and he turned me on to these manufacturers who are phenomenal. Like I literally feel like I hit the jackpot with them. They're amazing. They're just
And,
it's
okay, so
yeah.
you're at the trade show basically, and then you couldn't get, like, in this day of where I mean, maybe because I'm jaded too because I'm in California, everything seems, like, so healthy and whatever, but you couldn't find a manufacturing
I know.
facility to manufacture these, like, in this day and
I
age.
know. It
That's
was hard,
amazing.
and it's kind of through connections and word of mouth,
Yeah.
and so I found someone, and the team was amazing. So I just have nothing but good things to say about them. And then we have some new products that we're involved in now. So that are
Okay,
in
tell us
R
about
and
them.
D. So
Oh, can you tell us or no?
yeah, I can tell you. So I'll tell you that we have these specialized jerkies coming out. Now, no one knows this other than the fact that they're specialized, but I might as well tell you. So these are
Yeah?
superfood novel jerkies that are, I wish I had a picture to show you. They are soft sticks that have ridges in them of novel
Yeah.
proteins such as bison, hypoallergenic, no allergies, great meat, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Venison
yeah.
and lamb.
Wow.
So not, and people, might be being like, wait a minute, she has a vegan treat and she has jerky, but it's not about being a specific company on vegan or not.
Right,
It's about offering
right,
options that support most dogs with the
right.
superfoods and obviously low glycemic. So it gives more options for all these pet parents. So they're not left out.
I love it. And is the same
No,
manufacturing
someone else
facility
is
gonna
doing this
produce?
because the manufacturer we
Oh,
use is
right, because
vegan. It's
obviously
okay. It's a lot to
yeah.
remember, girl.
So, yeah, I know, right? You're like, "Ah, I get it."
That's why I get
So
those
where
Carrie moments.
right. I love it. Well, where did you find the next manufacturer then to do the
They're very well known and they've been on the
okay.
circuit for a long time with a proven track record. And we just did our due diligence, like various
Yeah,
ones that were top of the line. And then we made our selection from there, what fit for us. Yeah.
got
You
it. I
know,
love it. And so how long will R&D take?
I could say around maybe like 8, 10 weeks around there.
Got it.
Yeah. But we don't want to
And
rush
then
it. So,
no, no,
yeah.
no, no. So so let's say 8 to 10 weeks and then what happens?
Then
So
what happens is,
you
mhm,
like you just like how long before so if somebody's listening to this, let's say we put this because I want to put this episode out right away. Let's say we
sure.
put this episode out in the middle of April and you're in R&D right now. Like what's that process like of how long would it take to get it packaged and actually in a
Well,
store?
because it's jerky, this is going to be the first time for me because some of the things still apply because it's a product, right? But with the jerky, the packaging might have to be a little different in regards to the size. So that might mean, picking a new bag,
Ah,
making sure that bag has the proper layers in it to keep it
right.
sealed. And so there's a lot of little things. I've already designed it. However, we have to go back. So when you get your R&D and they give you about 10 pounds of the product that you requested to test, right? So try on your dogs.
Okay.
I'll send some to you, things like that. From there, once it's perfect, they go back to the drawing board. If it's not, and once it's perfect, they will give you all the guaranteed analysis because even that's changed. So the guaranteed analysis used to have like crude protein and things like that, very minimal
Yeah.
information. Now they're like food nutrition boxes like we eat. So we'll have to
Yes.
get those
Okay.
prior to getting the product so we can place all that information on there, get them printed, then have the product be put in there sealed and then sent to fulfillment.
Because I hear this and I'm like, okay, you're going to get the 10 pounds. That's awesome. But then you're going to go back to kind of the friends and family and be like, and how did you know you were at the point where you wanted to go to the R&D to just commit to getting the 10 pounds kind of thing.
Yep, because I can tell you how I will be when we get the 10 pounds. I will know if by texture. It has to be also good for
Ah,
seniors. I need to make sure these ones, particularly because they're also going to senior dogs, tiny dogs, and diabetic dogs, they have these
oh,
nudges in them where
interesting.
you can actually break it off. So you don't have to worry about having to give your
Interesting.
dog a whole stick. You can just give them little pieces if you have a Chihuahua or a Yorkie or.
Oh,
Yep.
smart. Yeah,
So,
because I've got 2 Great Pyrenees, so
oh,
forget about breaking anything down. My God, I'm giving them handfuls. Okay. So, yeah, so that's awesome. Okay, so you'll get it back, and then will you are at that point, are you still testing kind of the recipe
yes, we're
on
testing basically at this point because we have the nutrition down, right? Because we have a
Yeah,
nutritionist and they make all the formulations
that's
as well. So
crazy.
you have that as well. So for this, it's more about being palatable. How many dogs will eat it? How many are like, I don't want this? You know what I mean? And then go to
Yeah,
R&D because I don't put any unnecessary non-functioning ingredients in.
got
So
it, got it,
the leaner these proteins are, they should be pretty desirable for these dogs, because they're just super
got it.
healthy.
That's one thing about the pet industry and, like, is that they put all these fillers and all
Yeah,
that's the whole
oh
point,
God.
right?
And the
They
things
bulk
I've
up all this
learned
stuff.
along the way, because I'm a dog mom that did tons of research, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, I'm coming from the perspective of the customer because I was fed up, totally fed up.
Well, okay, so air some dirty laundry, like, what did you find out?
Well, I just know, like for instance, we've gotten quotes to use certain ingredients, and I look at these ingredients, and they're like fillers, or like canola oil, vegetable glycerin. There's no nutrition,
Oh,
palm oil. Like for instance, we use blackstrap molasses because when you to bind your treats, right? So when I was doing them by
yeah,
hand, I used unsweetened applesauce because that
right,
was what you do, right? Low sugar,
that's
no
right.
sodium, perfect. Well, when you go into manufacturing, you can't do that. It won't hold with the machines. So I
Yeah,
initially said, well, can we do like a sugar-free molasses? But then in finding that, they had more chemicals. I'm like, this will be more
oh,
detriment than if I just gave them, molasses.
interesting, interesting.
So I said, forget it. So I settled on blackstrap molasses. It's the lowest on the glycemic sugar index, and it is chock full of like potassium and vitamins. It is like so functional, and it's just a minimal amount. So
That's what holds it together. Is it
yes.
also something that's supposed to make it sweet too, or no?
No, my treats aren't sweet because I don't have the sugars in there. I mean, that one, it just gives
Yeah,
it a light taste. Now, I wouldn't even say sweet. Like the peanut butter tastes like a
yeah.
Nutter Butter minus the sugar.
I was just headed to, "Oh, it's low glycemic, so can I get me some molasses and have a treat? Because I love sugar."
Well, blackstrap
That's
would
where
be
I was
healthier
going.
for you. Blackstrap
Right,
molasses.
and I even know that I mean, just yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah.
So, no wonder this stuff is
I mean, like,
and
yeah,
2 different packaging facilities, like, that just I mean, I just can barely wrap my brain around that.
I
You've
know.
got right? So, like, you have to get all the packages, the labels, like, 2 sets
I
of kind
kid
of
you not.
everything
I'd
now.
walk over there and show you. I had 8 notebooks, and they're all labeled per department or per category that I'm working on. So I can keep
Wow.
everything together.
Now, when you say per category, like what? Like per category of like
Yeah, like
ingredients or per
per category of like what's going on. So for instance, I mind mapped it once. It was hilarious. So I have jerky over
Oh, I wanna
here.
hear this is
I
good.
know. I
Yeah.
don't even have it over here. I think it's somewhere over
Oh
there.
my god, I would love this.
I can send it to you after. But it's
I would love that.
yeah, there's jerky is one of them. The social media is another notebook, right? Because I have to stay on top of the branding, social media and stuff like that. I have another one that's just for the
Oh.
vegan treats, another one for fulfillment, so I can keep track of all the pallets that I bring them. And even though all this is in the computer too, but I need
No,
to
I
have
get
it
it, but
because yes,
I need it there's something
that
about,
hand
like,
mind thing connection.
total tactile
Hmm.
situation. Yes, no, I'm 100% with you. So, let's talk a little bit about social media. So you've got a binder on social
No, no,
media,
no.
or
I have a
you've got
binder here. Like it's labeled social media. So everything I have to discuss, like if you and I were discussing social media, I'd have
yeah.
everything in there. If we were discussing fulfillment from business to business stuff, let's say with a big store, I have that separated. So
How did you decide your social media strategy? What are your thoughts
it
on
kind of
influencers?
was
I mean,
very intuitive for me because, again, it kind of falls in line with branding. But I have someone who's
yeah,
working with me on the team doing social media,
yeah.
and she's so funny. I love her. She's trying to get me more comfortable in front of the camera, and I am comfortable, but
How could you not be comfortable in front of the camera? What are you talking about?
but
What in the
sometimes,
world?
like if I'm like asked something dead on, I'll be like,
That's great for social media, the facial expressions. That's why I say you guys have gotta watch on our Prophet Goddess YouTube channel because that it's those facial expressions that are making the whole thing. But so wait, you're not like you don't wanna be on camera? I mean,
no,
you've got
I
the sound
do.
bites
I
and all
do.
that
I
stuff.
enjoy it, but it's just when things are more serious and we're talking about like ingredients or this or that, sometimes
Yeah.
I'm just like just get shy.
Oh, oh, got it, got it, got it. Okay, so what are your takeaways about influencers and social media and
I really think they're
sure.
definitely a value for sure. I think they're very
Yeah,
talented. I think they're very strategic minded. It uses a different part of the creative brain. I think it's
yeah.
awesome. And to be honest, I do watch them so I can kind of have a better understanding because I am a natural in front of the camera, but there are times, quite frequently, that I'll be like, I
Yeah,
clam up.
again, that's
So
so you made the decision to be, kind of like your own
yeah.
influencer almost,
Yeah, just kind of
right?
through
And s
knowledge, through, behind the scenes educational platforms and no real hard pushy selling. We're just not like that.
when you're because I want other people to be able to have some
Sure.
takeaways and adapt this to their business. So, I mean, you're gonna have a million people who are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I wanna go get your,
Yeah.
your dog treats." But for people who are thinking like, "Okay, like, how do I do this for my own business?" Were you or are you watching other social media, like other don't give us your secret sauce,
Yes,
but
sir.
like other dog pet treat
Mhm.
influencer people? Or are you watching just other they could be influencers of
All of
handbags
it.
who are just good
All
at
of
it?
it. Because here's the
Oh,
thing, and this
interesting.
is when you pull back again, and this is for your
Yeah, gotta
company, and you
pull
have to
back.
say, I'm not going to put my head into this. So if I go to somebody else's thing and
Mm,
I'm like, oh, they did a really cool thing here, I'm not going to go back and say, let me do the same thing. My brand is in its own lane. And if you stay in your own lane, you create such an identity that is so strong to you and very, like, we're very
yeah,
transparent, we're very ethical. We even,
yeah,
like, I didn't tell anyone this, but I would even reuse boxes from Amazon from my own purchases to send it out to customers to try to like recycle. And I didn't say anything about
yeah,
that, you know what I mean? To be
yeah,
sustainable. And,
interesting.
I didn't say anything about that, but that's, stuff that I do, to try to,
But I think you and why wouldn't you say that?
yeah.
I
Well,
think
I
that's
know
really
because you think in
cool.
the scheme of everything, you're like, I need to focus on X, Y, Z. So it falls to the
Sure.
wayside. But definitely, I mean, I would say to any entrepreneur, whether you want to get in the pet business or not, just stay out of your own head. Like, be gentle on yourself, We are
Yeah,
our
that's some advice
worst
I could use
person
today.
critic.
That's oh, yes.
Hmm.
And okay, so let's take an example of social so you let's say you see something on social media that you
Yeah.
like and you made a comment and you said you're not going to just go do it,
Yeah.
right? But you kind of put that into your brain and
Yes.
then say what
Like a
how
Rolodex.
would
Yeah. How could
yeah, like
I?
how could you adapt it for your
Exactly.
brand?
That's what I do to make it our own, and I don't always
So
do it, but I let it marinate and start thinking.
so like give us an example if you can. Like I mean, would it be something like, "Oh, you saw a pet collar, blah, blah,
No, it'd be
blah," and you
something
would
where, like,
adapt
maybe it
it?
would be like something having to do with, like, let's say we're an all natural company, and I've seen other people
Right.
do, even like things you could do with your dog in the fall, and like, toxic plants for pets around the fall and
Oh,
things like
great.
that, or even
Great,
ideas,
great.
that they talk. And I think they're all well and good, but there's a time and there's a place for them. And there's not
Yes.
overthinking. It's more strategizing
Yes.
because no one reinvents the wheel. We just,
Right.
even my treats don't reinvent the wheel, but clearly nobody built that wheel because, you know
But
what I
and
mean?
why? And why didn't they? Is it because it was so much harder to find the manufacturing place?
You
Is it
know what? I
because it's
can't
so much
speak to that
cheaper,
really. I
easier?
think a lot of it
But
comes
give
down
an
to
educated
my
guess.
educated guess is given the fact that everyone's so profit hungry, it's putting in crappy ingredients. That's what
Okay.
I feel. Not all of them do
So
it,
you
of course, but there
right.
are a handful.
So you were willing to make less money, but just really stick behind your core
Yeah.
pieces of, I don't care.
Yeah.
I am not putting this garbage
Yeah, I
in
refuse
my
to. I
treats,
mean,
period.
we're putting in like functional ingredients. It's not like we're putting in canola oil and filling it with like some kind of like binder that makes it chewy. And, these are every ingredient's got a purpose for sure.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So, okay, so when do you think your jerky will be in stores potentially?
Well, right now we're doing direct to consumer, but the existing stores we have, we will reach out to them to see if they want to carry it. And people do reach out to
Got
us
it.
as well. So I can't really predict that. But I know
Yeah,
it'll
yeah, yeah.
happen. Yeah.
Well, when do you think it would be like on your website?
It'll be on definitely by, I would say, end of summer for sure.
Oh, cool. Okay. And you said now you have a fulfillment
Yes.
center, right? So you're not
Doing
shipping all of
anything.
the
No.
okay. So that must be
Yeah,
huge, right? Because entrepreneur people don't realize how many entrepreneurs, I mean, it's a
I
while a
know.
lot of times where it is freaking in your living room.
Oh God.
Um, right? I mean, the living rooms of entrepreneurs in America and I'm
I
sure around the
know.
world.
There was a commercial I remember for this one woman. Ironically, I forget the name of it. It was like the pan that does it all. It was the one, it was like Pastelli.
Oh,
And she had her garage open and it was full of product. That's exactly what it's like. And you live in a house that looks like
yeah.
UPS or FedEx.
Yes, yes, and you
Work
just
with
do
it.
it.
Yeah.
And what about trends? Like what's on the horizon? What do you think? Do you think there are going to be more companies jumping on the
Yeah.
bandwagon? What do you think is going to happen with you? Do you think some big box is going to buy you? What are your
I don't think so
how
yet.
would you
I've
say?
had calls though. People have called and
You
asked.
have?
Yeah. Even back when I started it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you think there are going to be more well, there are a lot of companies jumping on the bandwagon saying they are
Yeah.
healthy, but as you're saying they're not.
Well, a lot of them are
I mean,
not,
I shouldn't say
but there are a few, and I give them so much kudos because I was at the Global Pet Expo in Orlando recently, and there were like a good handful of companies that were really doing it right, just like what we're doing. And I love to see that because, you shouldn't have all the market share. You got to share it. So,
right.
competition's good.
That's where you and I are different. I wanna rule the world and just keep all my
I'm
Easter
all
eggs in
like
my own Easter
love light
basket.
energy, like
I know.
my tattoo, and then
Yeah.
everything's in
Oh, there you go.
unicorns.
There you go. There you go. So do you think you guys will expand past the pet
Yeah,
treats or no?
yeah. We're
You do?
looking to do air dried food, not kibble, air dried and not freeze dried.
Oh,
Because freeze dried, not only it is a lot of money, but it leaves like a horrible carbon footprint. Whereas,
really?
yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, and I don't want to be silly and just put
No.
one out there. Yeah.
Wow. Air dried.
Hmm.
Okay, so then that would be so instead of just treats, now you could be feeding the dogs like my big boy dog is the bag a
Yeah.
day.
So when we get
Okay.
R&D for that, I'll give you some as well to try.
That would
But
I
just
was
like
gonna
do
say
a
you're gonna
little
have
because
to
I don't want it to screw up their diet that they're on, so don't give them like a whole bowl, you know?
yeah, well, these 2 are, like, trying to eat coyotes. That's what I mean, so I don't know that your, like, sweet kibble would be, mixing up
Yeah.
that wow, that is amazing. So you're happy in this space,
Yes.
you're happy in this industry, and it shows on
Thank
your face.
you.
I mean, I love that. And so tell us again the name of your company, where you are on Instagram, other
Sure.
socials, how people can find you if they want to, I don't know, do a brand collab, whatever they
Sure,
want to do.
sure.
How would they get a hold of you?
So they can reach me at hello@marcyspetKitchen.com.
Yeah.
And the socials are pretty much at marcyspetKitchen.com for
There
Instagram.
you go.
Yeah, we try to keep it
There you
consistent.
go. Right,
And
right.
TikTok and Facebook and such. And we do have a YouTube channel, but we're building it right now. So that's going to take a hot minute. Yeah. But I will tell you really quickly, and to
Yes.
all those
Please
entrepreneurs,
do.
one
Yeah.
thing that I did that
Yeah.
has saved my life every time I'm
Yeah.
working, I always just do it. Like, when you're freaking out when you're transitioning and you overthink things, I
Yeah.
literally like that's
Are
like
you in my
I know,
head?
I'm like
Are
right
you
there
in my
with you.
head?
And
right?
Literally, do not overthink things, just jump. If you know it's a healthy decision and it,
Yeah.
it's not going to be detrimental to you, obviously, just jump.
Right.
The worst thing someone can say to you is, no, I don't like this, or it doesn't work for us. That's
Yeah.
it. And
Yeah.
then you created a whole
And
nother seed that's planted.
it's funny you say that because lately, I'm been working on this startup now for a bit that's actually ironically to prevent the spread of wildfires,
Hmm.
right? And talk about something that is totally out of my league, out of my lane. But the interesting thing is I was on this venture capital cruise where it was like this regular cruise, but then it was like 500 people who are just part of this like VC group.
Hmm.
They're looking to fund stuff and founders looking to get funding. And it is so interesting because you get in that kind of Shark Tank rapid fire, like you're showing them your deck, blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah, blah, blah. And it is amazing how when you start asking or getting, I don't want to say you're shy, but I mean, by the end, you're like,
Yeah.
you don't give
You're
two
like,
hoots
this
if
is
somebody
me.
says
This is
no.
my company. I'm
Yeah,
exhausted. I put my heart on the table. That's
right.
it,
Yeah.
you know?
That, yeah. Do you like it? Thanks. And then they're like, well, that's no, because I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I
No
always
problem.
listen
Like,
to the
no is
no
no
because I
problem.
want to know their no. Is it something like, I know, but
Completely.
is it, but
Completely.
I
I'm
hear what
just
you're
saying, like, that
saying
doesn't kill you.
because I want to pull
That it
my,
doesn't
yeah, hair out.
does just you don't what I guess what I'm trying to say is yes, listen to the no and why and the
Yeah.
feedback
But don't
100%.
dwell in it.
Oh, but that's a huge message for people to get because what like when you're trying to remember you've been at it a while now you've got some real
Yeah.
success. But if in the beginning it's like you feel like every banker that says no, you're like, "Oh," and you just realize it's a numbers game. You just got to put it out
You do. You
100
gotta be
extra
silly. You gotta do
times.
silly things like in my neighborhood or sometimes in other neighborhoods like where my kids' friends are. If I see someone walking their dog, I have these like little on the go bags here and I literally will jump out and give it to them out of my car. I like ambush them.
Smart
I bring them
girl.
with me to UPS. I'm like, "Oh my God, you have a dog. You got to try these." Like I give the Instacart people those if they have a dog. Like, yeah, I am not
Oh.
afraid. Even on Halloween, I remember I had treats for the adults and kids, and I had treats for the dogs.
Have you done anything where like gifting celebrities and stuff like that?
I have done, I'm trying to think if it was gifting celebrities. No, but I would love to do that, but I have,
Okay, well, I can help you with that.
oh, that's so sweet. Well, there's got
For
to be,
100% for sure.
well, there's something that I got to do for you because that's how I work. Okay.
Oh, well, believe me, there's a million things you can do for me, girl. Don't you
Okay. Well,
worry.
you keep me
That's a
posted.
story for another day, but I have the perfect, I don't want to say it in
No,
case something doesn't
don't say,
happen,
yeah.
but I have a past client this is right up their alley.
Yeah. No, that's
And
wonderful. The more they love dogs,
okay.
oh, sure.
Oh my God, obsessed.
Yes.
Not, I mean, obsessed with dogs. Okay, so let me ask you a question before I let you go, and I keep trying to let you go, and then I
It's
have more
okay because
questions.
we love talking to
Did
each
you?
other.
I know exactly. Have you self-funded this the whole time, or did you raise money?
No, I self-funded it for like the first year and then I had a partner who we're
All
no
right.
longer partners. And it
Okay.
wasn't bad or anything. I learned a lot. It was
Yeah.
good. And then I met another partner who is super
Yeah.
interested and he's my partner now and I have a team that I work with, a small team. It's I couldn't have asked for
And
anything
so
more.
that helped with the cash then, in
Yeah,
other words.
definitely, because we
Yeah.
really needed to push it out there. My first partner didn't really believe in marketing, and that's like the world I came
Mm.
from. But, you have
Yeah.
to collaborate and you have to take some wins and then take some losses. But I thought,
Yeah.
kind of enough's enough. I mean, we
Yeah.
need to push it out there a little more. So,
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. I love it. Well, okay. So one more time, Instagram, where can they find you and your website if they
yep.
want to go and order your
Marcy's
treats?
Pet Kitchen, or I should say at Marcy's Pet Kitchen. And then for all social media handles, and then marcyspetKitchen.com. And just so you know, it's Marcys.
Yes. I love it. I love it. Well, Marcy, this has been
I
such a
know, I
pleasure,
love
such a catch
talking to
up.
you.
I mean, we're gonna do it again because there's a million more questions I could ask you.
Sure.
And most importantly, you guys listening to this, if you have anyone in your life who has a dog, okay, you've got to get the treats, but pass on this podcast episode to
Yes.
them. And because guess what? not only are they going to learn tons about how a brand is born and why there are so few really healthy
Hmm.
brands, and just I think it's just going to be really encouraging, and it's going to be encouraging to
Yeah.
people who have an idea and want to do something really cool. So, as they say, pass this episode on to at least one friend. Make sure you
Yeah.
check it out on YouTube at the Profit Goddess. And Marcy, I'm so grateful for
I'm
you
so
to be
grateful
on
for
this.
you. Not to sound corny,
I
but I really am. So,
no, I as I say, I love it, and these things all intersect and weave. And
yeah,
like you said, the very beginning of the show, it's like you build these
I
relationships, and
know.
listen, that this is what
It
happens.
seems so
And
ADD, trying to put it all together, but it's like things are predicated on other things, which are predicated on other things.
it's layers and
Yeah,
layers and layers. Yeah, I love it. Well, you guys, this was a terrific episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
definitely.
And this is Marley Major signing off on another episode of Every Day's a Train Wreck. So go get some of Marcy's pet kitchen treats, and we are going to see you next week. All
Take
right.
care.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.